May. I lived in May so I can forget everything. And this May will forget me too. These memories will fade and become fuzzy, which is not quite reliable, obviously, because I might remember things differently. Despair, hope, pain. I will ask myself whether my curiosity allowed me to understand the world better, or did it just overwhelm me with endless lists and endless tasks? Either way, I will still know that I am of the world. I now eat cheese as a snack. I didn't even grow up with cheese. I read books about foods in India. In the end, I will remember how everything made me feel. These things will be in my memories because of how they made me feel. In this chapter, I want to share with you some of the reading highlights from the books I absolutely enjoyed. And while I did read over 10 books in May, in addition to finishing issue 173 of Philosophy Now magazine, I will only talk about 5 books. And the first one on that list is Latvia, A Short History by Mara Kalnins. This is an important summary and overview of the history of the people of Latvia, and this book is short and it highlights the historical and cultural relationship between the Baltic states of Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia. In this book, we are able to see the enrichment without erosion of a culture and language and its key role in the fight for independence and sovereignty of Latvia. So go read this book if you're interested in history, and this is a non-fiction work. The second book that I read was by Brigitte Reimann. It's called Woman in the Pillory. This book we have a main character, Catherine, a married German woman during the Third Reich, who lives a borrowed existence. She comes to us shy, submissive, dealing with conflicts in silence or just avoiding it altogether. So this is in her homestead, and she lived with her sister-in-law and husband, who is a farmer and fighting at the front lines for the Nazis. Surprisingly, she is drawn to this prisoner of war, not from infatuation, but by the recognition of his humanity and being repulsed at the xenophobia that is being uttered by those around her, shouted at this prisoner of war, Alexei, and imposed on her household and the community. She is moved, and they form a friendship that they can't quite explain in the eyes of the people around them. And eventually there are catastrophic consequences for this relationship. Either way, the book asks us a question that is phrased in a way that the author uses her stance on the humanity of everyone by saying that it is never too late to change, and we still have a lot to make up for, and this can be asked in a question today to everyone. Is it ever too late to change? And why do we seem to be convinced that there's nothing that we can make up for and save the world. My third book was a classic, and it's Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I really find Nabokov's writing quite genius, but in this account by a delusional pervert, Nabokov's wit in language is shining, and from the first paragraph to the last, we are able to peer into the loophole in the laws that are in place to protect children from prejudice. There is a catastrophic result that comes about because of the inertness of all the other adults in this child's life. There is the killing and murder of children over and over again. And eventually, by brewing this tragedy in a very, very, very masterful way, we still shudder with horror and still develop an awareness and instinct that's hard to shake off well after finishing the book. As for Lolita, I would avoid watching the movie, as I said in my video previously. We then have Panics by Barbara Molinard. This is a work of genius. It's a book filled with emotions that inspire fear, despair, visual and bodily horror, panic. The characters are different in each story, and they grapple with their disintegrating sense of reality. And through this book, Barbara Molinard explores her lived and adds an imagined experience of mental illness, which in her own life she actually grappled with. And she brings readers into her world, which is chaotic, illogical most of the time, with such lucidity and terror that's both frenzy and reflective. This is definitely a brilliant work of surrealist autobiographical fiction that I wish more people could read. My next book that I read was a book about food by my favorite author of The Elegance of the Hedgehog, Muriel Barberry. And this book is a book of flavors told in the voices of the food critic and other people in his life. Pierre is in his deathbed, yet all he wants is this elusive flavor that he can't quite remember. We are invited into his world through sharp and sensual descriptions of his gastronomic adventures, littered with mocking accounts of the people around him. These people also have quite a lot to say about him. We get the portrait of an indifferent man whose crude attitude to those close to him is confirmed in their own recollections of who he was as a person. All in all, this is a great appetizer of a book. So these are the books that I wanted to share with you. And of course, for any that I never mentioned, they are still quite relevant and good. But I just think that it's better if I highlight the 5 that I found quite intriguing. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in